Aaron, I think for our intro music, we should play Cheeseburger in Paradise in honor of the passing of Jimmy Buffett. Or we should play what song where he's like, I got my heart
Jimmy
stuck
Buffett
in-"
died?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I've been at lunch/coffee for the last like 3 hours. So did that just happen?
This
That
morning I
happened
woke
last
up
night.
to it. Yeah, last night.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. Okay, all right.
You should have eaten at Margaritaville.
I should have had a margarita is what I should have done.
Hey, we
So-
should play if you like Pina Colada, because it's not a Jimmy Buffett song, but everybody thinks it is.
And then we're just like, rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. You were a real one, man. This one's for you, bro. We know you love those fucking pina coladas, man.
Pew, 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 pew.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the ToyBoyz podcast. My name is Chad, and I'm here with Chris, Eric, and Jared. Avery is out on assignment. ToyBoyz, assemble. Gentlemen, how goes it?
It's going well.
Yeah, things are good.
Good. High energy today. A lot of high energy. So I believe Avery is actually, he said he was traveling back to the United States right now, which is amazing. He's been in Kuwait, so we've been waiting for him to get back for quite some time. So hopefully now that means he can join us on a regular basis. So it's not just our four faces. We'll be able to change it up a little bit and have Avery starting with us after this. So let's start with some big news. Chris, I know we were talking about PowerCon reveals. What'd you see? What'd you like? What do you think?
Well, the one thing that I really liked, which I've been talking about so many times already, is the ramen toys. Well, their booth, they had a lot of really cool stuff. Most especially the Brave Star figures are the ones that I'm excited about. They also had the charger from Ghost Rider that Haslab. They weren't able to get crowdfunded, so they kind of picked up the slack and putting out their own version, which is cheaper than the Hasbro one, which is also something that they're gonna consider doing with the Turtles lair. I don't know if we're gonna talk about that later or you want to just get into it now, but yeah, I thought their booth was really cool. From the pictures, I didn't go, but they had a lot other. They also had some Masters of the Universe figures, and some. I think it's called Aces of Aviation, which were based on Top Gun.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
They couldn't. They actually got a cease and desist, so they couldn't. They couldn't put out the Maverick figure that they had.
Gotcha.
But they made it so that they found a little loophole where it was if you buy all three figures, you'll get a extra head, like the Maverick head, as a gift, along with the helmet and the stickers. So basically, you can make your own figure with those parts.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So it's is it unlicensed Top Gun? Basically, is that what we're?
That's what I'm thinking. A lot of their stuff, if you look at it, it's renamed something else that's similar.
Well,
to
I know that you just mentioned that their sewer lair, their turtle lair is hey, anybody can make a sewer a play set. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a part of anything. So yeah, just kind of an unlicensed item that. Okay, yeah, I mean that makes sense. So then it's not like Tom Cruise is Maverick. It's Rom Shoes as Daverick or something. Yeah. That's I see what you're saying.
The same thing with the Brave Star figure. It's called the Marshall.
Oh, I don't think I realized that was another unlicensed item. That's interesting.
So I think with some of the stuff they're trying to acquire the license, but because they're so new and they're an basically independent company, all those bigger companies don't really want to share, the properties, I believe.
That makes total sense. Looking at that Marshall figure right here from Ramen Toys.
Yeah, I pre-ordered that.
Oh,
nice.
nice.
Okay. Yeah.
It looks fantastic. That looks great.
So excited for it. Probably display it with my Marvel Legends.
He kind of, yeah, I could see how he could kind of fit into that like vibe. Yeah, I think that makes total sense. Do you think they'll make any more like Brave Star related figures at all?
They at the show that they showed like the sculpt for 3030, the horse.
Oh yeah,
So it was unpainted, but it looked really awesome. It was scaled properly, and it looked really cool. So hopefully they kind of continue with that line, and they make what is his name, Tex Hex, I think.
yeah.
So yeah, that would be really cool.
Very nice, man. Yeah, just it feels just like one of those random obscure properties from the 80s you never thought you'd really see again, and then here it comes, and like you said, it's not licensed, but it looks great. It's fantastic. I think one of the PowerCon reveals that we were laughing about before we started was the Dino Riders homage. Creative Beast Studio, and he's all, yeah, this guy's all decked out. Looking at it, I'm not sure if like all the paint apps and stuff are finished, or if there's going to be some kind of decals, decals if you're Canadian.
Yeah, but I don't think that model's fully painted. That's pre-production.
Yeah, I
I'd
think
imagine.
yeah. I'm gonna guess it's it's just not ready. It's
It's a good start though, and it
it
looks like
is. It's good.
has
It's a good
good-
prototype. Yeah,
yeah, detail and
very cool. Speaking of prototypes, we were at STLV. I know we saw that Commander Krug figure from X06 on display. Looks fantastic. It's up for pre-order right now.
Gonna close soon too.
Yeah, it's gonna close really soon. Chris, did you have?
Pre-ordered it yesterday.
I was about to ask if you pre-ordered it. I'm still on the fence about it. It's literally the most expensive figure they've ever released.
Now
It's gonna be over $300 whenever you include shipping and everything. And it's just, I don't know. I'm debating, and maybe that kind of gets into the bigger conversation. Maybe we segue there to like a bigger conversation about how much are you willing to, and what inspired this conversation or this whole thought process was NECA a couple of weeks ago put their sewer lair, their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sewer lair up on pre-order, and it's a big set, it's a big diorama, it's packed with a bunch of accessories, it looks fantastic. They put it up, retail is $300, right? And depending on where you are in the world, shipping could be like $100 on it. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. So if you're trying to get it in Europe, it's like $100, you know what I mean, for shipping. So has anybody seen it? Chris, I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've taken a look at it. Have you seen it yet? Has anybody else seen it?
Oh yeah,
What do you
Yeah.
think about it, Eric?
yeah. But my first reaction was it looks like more like it should be $150 tops for.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it is bigger based on the scale of figures it needs to scale with, but it still doesn't seem like there's enough plastic there to justify
To justify it, yeah.
at all. Compared to some of the Haslabs that have been made, they're massive. The Galactus, Sentinel, or things that have sounds and lights and other features built in. It's just a static diorama playset. So I don't get why it costs that much to make unless they're just really looking to stick it to us.
I feel like a lot of people are kind of in that mindset of there's no reason why it should cost that much, and they think that NECA is just pricing because like what was the most recent? Oh, the portal. They put up a portal a little while ago. The Donatello's portal to Dimension X kind of a thing. They get sold for like $60, and people are like, why is this $60? Why is this $60 for the plastic? And obviously when you make a toy, there's a lot more that goes into it. Just plastic. You got to design it. There are prototypes. You got to redesign it. You got to print new prototypes. There's all kind of, you got to paint it. You got to research, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But a lot of people were like, why is this $60? But a lot of people bought it. $60 isn't that bad. It might've been a little high for the portal. And they think that, kind of once that happened, that we broke the threshold and then we kind of let NECA know, like, hey, we're willing to spend way too much for a single item. So like now they kind of put that thought into their head. Here we are willing to spend $300 on a sewer layer, and a lot of people aren't. And I've never seen this much backlash to at least to a NECA product, before until now. So this is definitely, I think it's on pre-order for another. What's today? Saturday, for another like 5 days. Like next Thursday is the last day for pre-order. So it's still out there, and from what I understand, if it doesn't perform well enough, they're not going to complete. There's supposed to be, I believe, 2 more rooms. What was supposed to be Donatello's, his like lab, and then maybe there's going to be like a kitchen. There's going to be like 3 total rooms, I believe, but they might not complete them if they don't get enough pre-orders here. So, I guess ultimately, just in your opinion, guys, like we could just go around the room with this one. Like, what's the max you're willing to spend on a single item? And I know that kind of depends on a couple different factors. Depends on what you like, what you don't like, how big it is, and everything. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Eric? I know we're not thinking $300 is worth of sewer layer, and I know that you've bought some stuff from Haslab, which is definitely some high dollar stuff. So, just what's a good ballpark number for you? Like, where are you like, no, this is too much. I'm gonna have to call it quits on this.
Well, interestingly enough, $300 usually is about like the price point where if it's under 300 and it feels like it's valued at that, it isn't too hard of a decision,
Sure.
especially if
Yeah.
there's like a payment plan option, afterpay, or what are those I know you love those, Chad. Use those so much. You've got
I
so
use
many
it too much, too much. I think I've got like 6 open right now. Anyway.
Yeah,
Oh my
it makes
gosh.
it a lot easier to make that decision.
Sure.
I would have probably not have gotten the Eternia playset from Mattel Creations if it wasn't for the payment plan, because that was, I think, 600, which seemed like, wow, that's just way too much for one item. But it did have a lot of good unlocks. It did have, you ended up getting like 4 tiers worth of bonuses with it. Figures and other add-ons and things, and once I could split it up over 6 months, then it became more of a, well, this is my one chance to get this thing. If I don't, the FOMO kicks in
Certainly.
also. There's all these factors at play. How is it priced, but what are you getting for the price? Do you think you could ever have a version of this from some other means, or is this it? Is this your only shot at it? And that's it. So I took the plunge on that one, even though like Masters of the Universe and He-Man is probably, it's not even like the top thing I collect. It's probably like my 4th favorite thing that I collect after, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Star Wars. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say just there's one number. There's Lego sets that go higher than $400,
Definitely.
$500, $600, for
Yeah.
the ultimate collector Star Wars ones. And I've bought a couple of those over the years. So I don't have an easy answer on it.
Yeah, I feel like there is no easy answer really,
Yeah.
because like you said, there's so many different factors of where does it fall on the scale of stuff I like to collect? Is it something I really like? You know what I mean? Like how much plastic is put into it, how big is it? How, so it all factors in, yeah.
It's kind of more like even just like a gut check reaction of, do I feel like they're trying to screw us, or is this fair? And
Yeah.
that you can't really put a number on it. It's just more of an evaluation of each item. Like the Haslab Rancor, Star Wars Haslab that they had earlier this year. The immediate reaction from everybody was, there's no way that's worth $400. Like it has no sounds. It has very limited articulation. It was just like what are you thinking? So that thing failed miserably. And same thing with you mentioned the vehicle. I forgot which one. It was a Haslab Marvel.
The
Ghost Rider. Yeah, that one crashed and burned because people were just like, look, I've seen other vehicles from other toy companies and they don't cost anywhere near this. Like, what?
Did you pre-order the Ghost from the Ghost ship from Star Wars?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I put it on the list of topics for today, and I put the Ghost. Is it worth it?
Oh yeah.
The conversation starter that I was thinking of was, I'm really on the fence on that one because the Razor Crest, which was just a year or two ago, was 300, and it's not that much bigger than the Razor Crest. So how do we go from 300 to 500 in just like a year and a half?
I
So
gotcha. That's the Star Wars vehicle we're talking about.
yeah, from the Rebels and now the Ahsoka show, it's appearing in that also.
Oh, nice.
So I think they found their opportunity to, we can get some people on nostalgia who are fans of Rebels, and then we can also get the new fans because it's in the Ahsoka show right now.
That makes sense.
So I mean, it's already funded. So I mean, there's a huge fan base of people who are into Rebels. So it's just a matter of how many more tiers will get unlocked. But it's really slowed down lately. So I don't know if they'll get through all the tiers. So that does kind of tell you a little something, that there are enough people on the fence with this one.
It's pretty awesome though, because it's actually like one of the few vehicles that's kind of like a playset as well, like the old Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, it's not just a statue or something, which does help a lot. But some others were saying it doesn't have audio, it doesn't have lights like that Falcon. That Falcon, I think, was sold at Target a couple of years ago for 400, and yeah, you had more features, I guess.
The Razor Crest have removable parts that you can go like in the innards of the ship.
Yeah, it does. It has like, different rooms, and yeah, like where he kept the bounties in Carbonite, that room, and like the bunk, and so yeah, there's playset capabilities with that too. Just seems like, yeah, over the last year and a half, I don't know about the other toy manufacturers, I don't watch them as closely, but Hasbro has really just been ratcheting up the price. It feels like every few months there's another price increase. So
I think it's hard to justify that price point too when you have like Super7 putting out the Cat's Lair for $650, which is like massive, and then they put out like Snake Mountain, which was also like almost the same size for about the same price as well. So, and then now we were talking about ramen toys. They're countering NECA by putting out their own version of the sewer lair, which I think, Chad, didn't you say it was a little bit bigger, the dimensions? Or
I don't know if it's bigger dimension wise. I just know that they said it was like 40 inches wide. So that is kind of mind boggling, the fact that you can have almost 4 feet worth of diorama, right? When you got 2 rooms right next to each other. They're modular and they can stack on top of each other. So you're talking about like, I mean, almost like a cube, right? Of like almost 4 feet by almost 4 feet when you've got 4 of them all together. And at that price point, what were they? They were about 180 each, is what we were thinking. So
wow,
you figure
really
like
cool.
2 with 200 shipping, so it's got to be about $800 if you get 4 of them and put them all together. Which is not, might not sound great price wise, but like 180 if you're gonna get one at least. 180 sounds a lot better than 300 plus a ridiculous amount. NECA shipping used to be like $15, flat rate. I think it was, when I checked it out, I think it was almost $30 for me to ship that to myself. And like I said, people in Europe are being charged like $100 to get it shipped to them. So 180 actually doesn't, and it looks great. It doesn't look like you're missing out on anything really.
you have the street top like
I do
Dio?
not have the tune, the street top. I do not.
I mean, wasn't that like 200 or something like that? Like,
I thought it was 150. But that's been a few years. That's been a while since that came out.
but I think you can pre-order it right now, like on Big Bad Toy Store or something.
The generic one you can, the tune one you can't. The tune one is crazy. The aftermarket on that's crazy expensive.
I would prefer the generic one anyways, because you can use it with any figures,
Oh, really? I
You
like
limit-
the tune one just because it fits the vibe of, like, if you're gonna have it, because the way it's made is like you put the tune, you got the tune street diorama up here, and then below it you have the sewer diorama, and I
Yeah.
think it just kind of fits the vibe a little bit better personally. But I see what you're saying, because then you could use the generic street one for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, even the movie figures,
Yeah, they look great on there. Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
Looking at the NECA, the sewer layer, it's actually 25 inches wide, so it's actually a little bit wider. So, I mean, we're talking about 5 inches more in width, which is depending on what you're trying to pack in there. There's a lot of accessories you can put in there. There's a lot of figures you can put in there. So, I mean, 5 inches is going to make a big difference, as you can imagine. I can't believe I just said that. But that's just how it is. That's how it is, guys. Anyway, back to toys. But I mean, yeah, just looking at it, I'm like, God, I don't, it's so much money, but also like it's 25 inches wide, it's almost 13 inches tall, it's 15 inches deep, right? And like it comes with a couch, like a chair, a table, all kinds of just like cool little accessories that just seem like it's gonna make it, worth it to me, I guess personally, which I guess is what it's really all about. But ultimately, if people aren't buying it, they're not going to keep making these different dioramas, at that price point. They're not going to be able to. Nobody's going to buy them. But I mean, that's a great point, Chris, is that, Ramen Toys stepped up and they were like, hey, we could also do a sewer layer and we can make it look great. We could do it for less money. It is a little bit smaller though. You can't license a sewer, you know what I mean? Like it's just a living room that somebody built in a sewer. It doesn't have to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It could be anybody. You could put, your G.I. Joe, you could put your Barbies down here. That'd be a little dope Barbie's sewer dream house. So I don't know. So what about you, Chris? What's a good? Look, we're talking about price points here, and I know that you're like a 1/6 guy, so you've got some figures that are kind of up there in value. What do you think? What's your?
Yeah, I mean, even though like I do have some figures that, I mean, even the Krug, that one's like $300,
Yeah.
and I was on the fence about that one for a while, but I didn't want to have that same FOMO I have with the Locutus.
Locutus, yeah.
So I just pre-ordered it, but I mean, I still have to like kind of budget. Like when it finally drops, I don't know if I'll have like the money readily available. I get paid weekly, so I could probably like, when it comes out, I could get it on the following week because they give you about 2 weeks, to pay your thing. But I have to pick and choose. I don't have an unlimited cash where I can just buy everything I want.
Yeah. No, I mean that's just the way it is. Like we all have to, kind of budget a little bit and figure out what we can get, what we can't get.
I was considering getting that cat slayer because I felt like the price was so good, and it's
the 650, yeah.
I had as a kid. Like I had that playset, and it was one of my favorite playsets.
Yeah.
I don't have the room for it, but I was like, man, 650. That's like a great price for what it is. Like I would love to just own it, and then I was like, well, then if I buy that, then I'm gonna have to start buying the Thundercats figures, which are like the Super 7 ones. Some of them are pretty pricey right now.
I've been looking at Super 7 stuff. I was looking at some yesterday because I was just curious as to what, if they had any more information on the Star Trek line, the Ultimates line. I'm not a big fan of their reaction figures, those little 3 and those little 4-inch figures or whatever.
Yeah. They're cool, but they're just like they look too cartoony. Like they don't look like the old Kenner figures. The
little.
Yeah. I wish they would have more of that retro style as opposed to like an animated kind of look.
I agree.
One of the only reaction figures I ever bought was the taxi driver figure because I was like, when are you ever going to have another opportunity to have a figure of Travis Bickle? so I bought that one, but that's otherwise, yeah, they're not so great.
I have the Beastie Boys ones, like the Intergalactic.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
and Sabotage ones. And then there's like a couple other ones I have. Like I have Czarface, which is like a hip hop rapper.
Nice. So Jared, what about you, man?
Well, for me, I think there are two main factors that go into play for me.
Yeah.
I would say the primary one is nostalgia. Like if it evokes that, like, oh no, I have to have that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of my childhood, brings me back. I'm very nostalgia oriented in that way. And then the second one would be the price point, obviously. Yeah, and it's really hard to put down an actual dollar figure, simply because for me that nostalgia factor, I'll pay a lot of money to satisfy that. So
I'll pay a lot of money to satisfy that. I'll be honest. I went ahead. I bit the bullet on the turtle there. I got one. It'll be here one day. You know how pre-orders are. I'll get it 10 months from now if I'm lucky. So that's just how it is. It would be nice if they re-release that Toon Street top diorama, because it's supposed to go like right on top. It'd be great to have kind of both and put it all together. We'll just kind of see how that goes. Speaking of NECA things and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and things that I also spent too much money on, the Turtle Van is going to be shipping here within a month or so. A lot of controversy of that when it first came out. A lot of people didn't like the way it looked, but now that it's got an updated look, people are really enjoying it. Chris, was that you that added this to the agenda for today to talk about?
I actually did.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah. I saw an article, I forget where it was, but it said, yeah, it will be shipping in a month or so. So I was like, oh, I better add that on. I think it looks cool. I mean,
oh no, it's great. There was the biggest complaint when they first were like, hey, we're making a turtle van, was it was this like huge hump in the back of the van. And a lot of people were like, what's that about? This isn't cartoon accurate. But like, you ever watch an 80s cartoon? Have you ever actually seen accuracy in an 80s cartoon? Because depending on what scene and who drew it and where it's at, it's going to look different in some ways. So there are some scenes where there's this huge hump in the back of the van in the cartoon. It's just, we tend to remember things the way we want to remember them. You know what I mean? So I also think it looks great. They retooled it a little bit. They brought that hump down. It's looking good. I'm looking forward to it. I've got 2 on the way. I'm gonna do the classic. I've got one for me and then one that I'm gonna sell, most likely. And yeah, I think it looks good. I know Super7 has one out there. That's I want to say it's like in the $500 price range, and it looks fantastic. It looks great, but it's definitely on the more expensive side. That being said, those Super7 figures, and maybe Chris, was you about to mention, is how much bigger they are. They're really, really big, hefty, tall figures. So you would need a turtle van that's gonna, accommodate the size of those figures for sure.
I thought they were the same scale. I thought maybe the Super 7 one was just more detailed or had more.
No. It's literally if you've never seen like a Super7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure before, they're huge. They're big. If I can think about it, I'll try and do try and find a size comparison sometime just so you can see between that. And I didn't realize the difference myself until I went out to a toy show one day and I was like, oh man, this thing is massive when you compare it to I want to say I saw a Baxter Stockman figure like the Super7 next to a NECA, and I was like, oh, that really is a big difference.
Bebop and Rocksteady are like huge.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Speaking of that, I know this isn't super toy related, but kind of toy related. Chris and I saw the Mutant Mayhem movie in theaters while we were in Vegas. Did anybody else watch it?
Not yet.
You guys got to see it. That's a funny movie. You guys got to check it out.
We took a picture, but maybe we could add that later. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we should. Yeah, we'll send it to you, Aaron. The narrator's like, and Aaron never received that picture.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I liked it a lot. I thought that a lot of people are kind of upset about it, or they said that they hated it, but I think they did something really good with it. They explored parts of it that like I think a lot of the other series didn't really do. And I thought Ice Cube's character Superfly was like really a cool addition to the cast. Like, and the music was really good. I like the animation. I thought it was great.
I agree. Basically everything you said. Ice Cube as the villain was perfect. He was kind of like this perfect mixture of hilarious, but also kind of like sinister. And like you could see like how that could be kind of like scary a little bit as like a character, as a villain, as a foil to the Turtles.
It didn't too gimmicky either. Like, you know,
No, it seemed really natural. I agree. It actually did. It did seem pretty genuine. When he was calling like y'all some little toyduses. Like it was just something very just funny, just really funny, but also I don't know, really good about it. Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko is just the best. Like there was some of the best voice casting I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who hate it just because that's the way people have to be. Like, you gotta hate something just because it's different than what you grew up with.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I loved it. I know we both really enjoyed it. I was just curious. I know there was a lot of toys out there that they made for it. The turtle van they made for Mutant Mayhem, that Playmates made for Mutant Mayhem, was one thing I loved about it was, in the original turtle van, it has that gunner seat that pops out on the side. This one has a gunner seat that pops out on the side, but then it has the pizza thrower. So there was like an old school pizza thrower. Like that was my favorite vehicle as a kid, was the pizza thrower. Like it would just have like a little wee, like you would turn it on and start shooting pizzas at everybody. It was amazing. I loved it. And so the fact that this kind of combines those two, you get a little pizza, like you're shooting pizzas at everybody. That's just, for some reason, I love it. It's just one of my favorite. I haven't got one. I might still get one. I don't know. The only things that I bought from that Mutant Mayhem Playmate series so far is that 4-pack where it has the Donatello Spock, they're all their different costumes or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty dope. One thing that we were talking about just maybe it was just yesterday was is it Haya that has the Star Trek, the new Kelvinverse, the new Kelvinverse figures coming out. I think they just revealed the Spock.
Yeah.
The like 4-inch scale.
Yeah.
I missed that. I didn't see there was a Spock coming. That's cool.
It's the Prime Spock. The like how we see like Leonard Nimoy and he's all how we first see him on the planet.
Yeah, with the torch and his winter coat and gloves and
When Spock exiles Kirk.
Yeah, right there. So he'll have a couple different hands gloved and then a Vulcan
Good.
and also a hood or a
I might if I don't get this whole line with, I think right now all they have is Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and then this Spock, this Prime Spock. If I don't get all of them, I would probably at least get this one. You know what I mean? I just really like the way it looks. I don't know, the torch is cool. Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I can get one of these. I can do that.
If I knew that they would be continue the line and then that they would do other Star Trek figures like Deep Space Nine and all that, then I'd be all in on that whole thing.
One thing that looking at it right now that I'm not a huge fan of is it is like $25 for that figure, for a 4-inch figure. That does seem like a little much. I would do it if I liked it enough. This kind of goes back to how much you're willing to spend. As long as it looks this good in person, then I'm willing to spend $25 on this. But it goes back to what Chris says. Chris was saying as well, because it's so strange that they're starting with Star Trek 2009, right? Because I mean, I don't know if this is like the most popular, line to go. A lot of us love the movie. A lot of us love those 3 movies in the JJ verse, and some of us are holding out for like a 4th movie to come out. But I mean, is this line going to be popular enough to, to kickstart a Star Trek franchise with like a Star Trek license with them to make it worth it? Because if it does, then you're right. Then we could get TNG and TOS and DS9 and Voyager. We might be able to get Strange New Worlds, Discovery, Lower Decks. Those would be amazing. Like a 4-inch, like Lower Decks figure. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Definitely an interesting decision, because you would think they maybe would have come out of the gate with Strange New Worlds, since that is like the hot show that everybody is really excited about and has been doing really well.
Agreed.
It's kind of strange, and it's like they went for, I don't know, trying to put their foot in both worlds or something. Instead of going original series, or instead of going with the latest and greatest, they're picking something in the middle.
Yeah.
When Diamond Select started the 6-inch Star Trek figures, they did original series, but they also did Enterprise like almost immediately after, because that was what was on, in the early 2000s. So that kind of made sense. Like, get the new fans, get the old fans. So yeah, it's kind of a weird decision.
I agree. Jay, were you gonna say something?
Oh, I was just thinking. I wonder if there was some sort of licensing issue with it.
that could be it. It might have been easier to get this license, or it could very well
Cheaper.
just be a licensing thing. You might be right about that.
Yeah.
Movies versus TV might be two different sets of rights.
I'm pretty sure it
possibly.
is. I'm pretty sure because it used to be two different companies. It used to be Paramount and Viacom, right? And then I
Yeah.
think they recently came back together.
That's some people's introduction to Star Trek too.
If it did introduce you to Star Trek, or if those were the only 3 movies you saw, at that point when they come out, those movies are like 15 years old. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And not that means anything to Star Trek fans, because we've been watching since '66. But like Mackenzie and Star Trek Watch Party, that's how she got into Star Trek. Was JJ Trek. So I think it'd be great if it sold out well enough, and they're like, yeah, we're definitely going to expand this. You're going to see some figures from Star Trek Beyond, which was probably my favorite of those 3 movies. If they got into Strange New Worlds, that would be amazing. I know Strange New Worlds, I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's been in like the top 10 streaming shows the last several weeks, it seems like. So it's really kind of broken into that, really. It's an insanely popular series, and it'd be great if it continued and we got some legitimate merchandise out of that. We know we're going to get it from X06, right? But not everybody's going to be able to spend $200 on a Captain Pike figure. But if it's $25 on a 4-inch figure from Haya, then you might be able to do it.
I was going to comment on what Chris said earlier, like,
Yeah.
kind of with some new lines, kind of having a wait and see approach a little bit, wondering how far they're going to go. You had on the list to talk about Guinan being canceled from Super7. I found that to be hugely disappointing because the fact that she was one of the launch figures gave me great hope that they were going to continue on and do some characters that you haven't gotten, 20 times before. Like, we've had so many Kirks, so many Spocks, and so on, so many Picards and Rikers and Datas and everything else. But to get a Guinan or to get other secondary characters, or alternate outfits or whatnot, or maybe some of the Playmates figures obviously had so many that they could do these one-off characters that were in one episode kind of things, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Have those kinds of characters in like a 6-inch line would be great. So to me, that was kind of a huge blow to it. It kind of took some of my interest out of it. I even contemplated just canceling the rest of my pre-orders and thinking this line is just going to be just the same characters we've had so many times before.
Yeah. Super7, we know you're watching. We're very disappointed in you.
We are. But I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the sewer layer, is that like if the pre-orders aren't there, then we're just not going to get, you know what I mean? We're not going to get everything that we want, basically. So I don't know.
That's why they canceled it, right? They said there weren't enough pre-orders.
Correct. Yeah, there weren't enough pre-orders to continue on. But yeah, no, it's a great looking Spock figure from Haya, and I'm kind of hoping that they continue that line. They continue that line for sure. One company that is just growing by leaps and bounds, and they are getting licenses to make stuff, is certainly the Nacelle company. They sent out an email, and I saw like on the headline they were calling themselves the Nacellverse, which I honestly love. I think that's such a cool name for your company, just like to kind of brand yourself and all of the different properties that they're picking up. I saw that they have the Great Garlu is going to be something that they're releasing. We could talk about Garlu in a minute. And Cowboys and Moo Mesa, which I was a fan of when I was a kid.
They showed it off at Comic-Con too at their panel. I think that was the first. Or wait, maybe I'm wrong. I think PowerCon might have been the first time that they mentioned that they were getting that license.
Yeah, I think it's on the Nacelle site there.
But yeah, that's one of the things that really I collected those figures as a kid, but it really bothered me that they didn't look like the cartoon. They were like in this weird kind of like squatting position, and they were like,
yes, yeah, that drove me crazy too. Yeah. No, I hate it for the same reason.
I really like the cartoon. I would watch it all the time.
It's interesting. They're going to be actually relaunching a new animated series to go along with these toys.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I hope they don't, bite off more than they can chew, because it would be a shame for a company like that to, not be able to continue.
Yeah, I think we all kind of worship at the altar of Brian Volkweiss, the guy who started the Nacelle company, He's made some great documentaries about, the toys that made us and a toy store near you and the movies that made us. He's made some great stuff. And the fact that he's almost got like the dream job, right? Like now he's making toys and he's making like toys that he's bringing back from the 80s, plus the cartoons that are associated with those toys. Like, I mean, you can't beat that. You can't beat that with a stick. You know what I mean? He's kind of got the dream job, right? Yeah, I think it's gonna be dope. He's also got RoboForce, I know, that was coming out too.
Yeah.
They were announced at the same year that Transformers was announced. So RoboForce was supposed to be the next big thing, but then Transformers got announced literally at the same toy expo, and just got drowned out by Transformers, unfortunately. So it's really cool that they're kind of getting another time in the sun a little bit, thanks to the South Company.
Yeah.
Them really digging into this high nostalgia factor this nostalgia wave, really, that everybody's riding right now, including us. So, Chris, what's going on?
There's this company that called Big Chief Studios, and they do a lot of the 1/6 Doctor Who figures, and they're based out of UK, and they have like a lot of those licenses. They were doing like James Bond, and they did Flash Gordon, and they did Thunderbirds, that old TV show, and they were supposed to release some Laurel and Hardy figures also, but a lot of people lost a lot of money in pre-orders. Like some people lost like thousands in pre-orders because they just went under. They even offered this one pre-order where it was like, I think it was like 1,300, but it was basically you can get all 4 Doctors, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and you could also get them individually, but they made this thing where it was like, oh, if you pre-order all 4 of them, you also get like the K9 figure that was in production as well. So a lot of people pre-ordered that 4-pack, as well as other pre-orders that they had, like other James Bond characters or Thunderbirds, or they actually just released some Peaky Blinders figures based off that show Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah, on Netflix, yeah.
Actually, the last figure to go out from their company. Yeah, they announced it like a month ago, I believe, that they're going bankrupt and they can't produce any more stuff, and they're not going to be able to honor any more of their pre-orders. So that's like, it's not a good thing for anybody. I think it's really unfortunate for them, for the customers, just for the hobby in general too.
And you said that's a British company? Big Cheap was a British company?
Yeah, I believe they're based in the UK.
Okay. Because I was just thinking, because Eagle Moss was also based in the UK, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
Right, they went under fairly recently. I know a lot of their stock, or maybe all of it, from Eagle Moss was acquired by Master Replicas. And Master Replicas has been putting that out online, like in special, kind of orders that you can do. I've seen the Cerritos from Lower Decks, like the really nice, the XL version, the really big one from Eagle Moss, and a bunch of other ships hard to come by, for really good prices on there. And I don't know. I wonder if Big Chief has any stock at all, and if so, like, is it going to end up? Because Master Replicas is another, UK based company, so I wonder if they're going to acquire any of that stock. It's just really unfortunate, man. I just can't believe all those people lost their money. Basically, is all I can think about.
I mean, that's an expensive pre-order there for the 4-pack. Have we ever heard of anything more expensive for a pre-order? I mean, that seems to be
not personally. No, not I said the cat.
Oof.
2 weeks ago, they were still taking money from people.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's not good.
Do that when they knew that they were going to go out of business or that they were in trouble, But
I wonder if there's any recourse for that. Can people do anything about that?
Apparently in the UK, after like up to like 6 years, you can like if you pay with your credit card, you can get that money back.
6 years.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
That's generous.
Well, that's probably a EU regulation, I would imagine. So
I think one of their problems though is like the 1/6 scale figures. A lot of that stuff is made overseas, like in China, in factories and stuff. they're sending like samples and stuff over there, and then they have to wait for it to come back
Mhm.
and approval and then also the pandemic. I don't think that really helped.
Never done. No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
But that's one thing that I think X06 has a good thing going for them, because Nanjin is like, he's able to communicate with those people in China, and because I think they have their own facility that he's able to like be more hands-on. He can go over there, he can communicate. He's like very well invested in it, like as far as like he's a fan of it.
Mhm.
So yeah, so they have the upper hand on that. So I think there's not a lot of middlemen.
Yeah. I think we need to bring toy factories back to the United States. That's what we
Yeah.
need to do. Make them right here. Good old US of A. I mean, they'll probably fall apart, but whatever. It's not about. I know I missed this earlier, and I meant to mention this. Especially we're talking about $1,300 pre-orders and $300 turtle layers and stuff like that. And I saw this post right before we started recording, and it's from this guy. And he said, I know this isn't a good way to think of it financially, but I took my wife out to dinner once, and the bill was $600. The food was meh, so we went to In-N-Out afterwards. The turtle layer is $300, but I'll have it forever. so it's worth it in my opinion. So,
Yeah, but
we just what's up, Chris?
I was gonna say a dinner is something that's gonna impress your wife, and she can tell her friends about. Not like a turtle lair where it's like, oh yeah, my spent $100 on a turtle. That's probably more something she'd want to keep a secret.
Yeah, probably so. Like, hey, honey, look what I spent $300 on, or $350 after taxes and shipping.
Well, I was having a conversation with one of my non-toy collecting friends, who can't believe that some of these things cost as much as they do. But, my counter argument was, well, some people collect guns.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
one
true.
gun is going to be $1,000 easy.
Yeah.
Or like sports memorabilia, or I mean,
lures and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think Chris mentioned cars too. I mean, it could be worse. We could be collecting antique cars, right? Like that could be,
In some places, men collect women as objects. Sickening.
Yeah. So we're doing better than those guys. Basically, is what we're saying. Yeah.
We're a feminist podcast. Okay, we support all women.
100%. 100%. Aaron, please edit this out. So.
Despite the name of the podcast, yes.
Barbie movie was really good too.
Barbie was a great movie. Actually, Barbie was dope. I loved Barbie. I actually kind of want, and this is gonna make me look bad. I kind of want to see it again for Ken, because he was so funny. Like Ryan Gosling killed it as Ken.
It was like really such a clever way to like incorporate the toy line and like into the movie. Like everything about it was really well done.
What did he call it? His Mojo Dojo Casa house was just
the toxic masculinity. He had like the saloon doors.
everything about it. And then he bust out everybody with she said, I don't know if I've ever been good enough.
Pew, 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 pew.
Please let Eric know that I'm not speaking to him directly right now. So if someone could relay that message to him.
Is that how we're going to do the whole show?
Please let Jared know that I'm not speaking to him as well right now.
This will be a great podcast. So you're not speaking to Jared or Eric. So everything you have to say to them, I have to be related to me. It's so great. Hey, you know what Aaron's favorite Jimmy Buffett song is? Kamuni. It'll be all right.